Hello everyone. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at variable screen size. Now first of all I'm going to import a background object into our scene. I'm going to name it background and I'm going to set its position to 0, 0. Okay, so now we've done that. I'm also going to add a button into our scene, so we'll just drag that here. And I'm going to stretch it a little bit because that's a tiny bit too small. We will just name this button, and we will also set the position to 0, 0. So now we have our two images in the scene. I'm going to quickly show you what the full background looks like in Windows Picture Viewer, just so you can see the whole thing, because I need you to see the difference. At the moment, we can see the whole image. When we run, you notice the image gets clipped. Now that's because of the available screen size. The renderer, this window, is not the same size as the image. It is much smaller, so the image gets cropped. But if you stretch the view, we notice at the bottom we have the water wheel. We can see more of that. If we stretch it horizontally, we should be able to see more of a tree on the left, I think. There we go, that just appears in the image. And you can see the rays of the sun up at the top left. So why is this important? Well, Wade is an HTML5 game engine, and as such you can use it to develop for pretty much anything that has a browser. So that could include desktop, tablets, smartphones, and even a smartwatch if you are that rich. So now we're just going to take a look at our different options for resizing the screen. Now by default the minimum size is set to 0, 0, and the maximum size is 1920 by 1080. And that's pretty much standard for Wade. So if we increase the size, let's just show this, we'll be able to see lots and lots more of the image, pretty much going forever because the image is quite big. If we reduce the maximum size to 1280 by 720 and we run the program, eventually when we stretch horizontally, we're going to get these black bars appearing, and that's there to preserve the aspect ratio, sorry. So if we increase the screen vertically as well, that will get filled up, but now this window is definitely bigger than 1280 by 720. So what's happening here is our image is still 1280 by 720, but it's being stretched to fill the screen size. So if you stretch a really small image by this amount, it will start to look very pixelated. So you've got to be careful how you use this. Now likewise, with maximum, we can set a minimum size. So if I set this to 640 by 480, and we run our program, when I shrink it down, it'll keep shrinking up to a point, and as we can see that point, we can see the house, the tree, and where does it start resizing? About there. So this is 640 by 480, which isn't too bad. So that looks like a reasonable size. If this was our actual application and we had a character or something here, I think that's a reasonable size. We can see enough of the house, we can see kind of the scene, we know what's going on. Whereas if you put this to 0, 0, and we make it smaller, you have the problem of, well, now we really can't see that much. It's just going to get impossible. Likewise, if you make the minimum size too big, so if we actually make the minimum size the same as the maximum size, so this is a fixed size, when we play it, no matter what size we make it, this is the content we're going to see. We can't quite see all of the sun, but we can see all of the house, the trees, but we still don't have the full image. I mean, again, if we look at the full image here, we can see the whole sun. So we're cropping the image a bit, and we will always be able to view this at any size. So no matter how small I make it, we can always see the same amount in the image. But because the minimum size is so large, 1280 by 720, if you've got a small screen, we're fitting a lot of pixels into this area, which is why everything looks really small. So depending on your game, you might need to play around with the minimum and maximum size to get the right effect for you. Now the other thing we need to touch on is the alignment. At the moment, both of these images are aligned to the center of the screen. Now for a user interface, you might not want to do that. So here I've got this button. When we run and we resize, we notice the button stays in the middle, which is not what we want. With a user interface, let's say we'll put the button at the top left. So if we change this button align left and align top, and then we just run it, it won't make too big a difference yet. In fact, it makes no difference because we're using a fixed size, so I'll just change that off. We'll go back to 640 by 480 just so you can better see the difference. Okay, now it's off center a little bit. So this button is going to stay its position relative to the top and the left. So no matter how we resize anything, there's always going to be this distance between the button and the left, the button and the top of the screen. So even if we make it really wide, the button will stay relative to the left of the screen. But of course the button's kind of in the middle at the moment, so we need to adjust its position. So I'm just going to go to the position here, and I'm going to try -200, maybe -200 again. That's probably not right, but we'll have a look, see what it looks like. Okay, that's not actually too bad. We still need to move it left a bit, so I'm going to change it to -250 on the X. Okay, a bit more. Let's go for -300. Make it quite a bit further left. And when we play, that's more acceptable. So if this was a user interface, our mute button is always going to stay at the top left, no matter what device size we are on, which is of course exactly what we want. And of course there are other ways of doing this. You could add a new layer and change the translation and scale and all that just for the user interface, but this is a quick way of doing it, and it seems to work quite nicely.